Welcome to the World Poetry Cafe. This is the family tent. I'm Julie Stevens, also known as Jumping Jules, when I'm writing poems. The first one I'm going to read is about what happens sometimes in my house. I've got 2 children and they leave a lot of mess around sometimes, and I feel like I turn into the monster mum saying, "Pick it up, please, tidy up, please." So this is my poem, Monster Mum. Monster Mum is on the rampage. She's hurtling through the house. Take cover, lie low, be as quiet as a mouse. You always know she's coming with her mighty thundering walk. Walls shudder, carpets tremble, and the eyes of the furniture gawk. She descends on the room, towering and strong. Think quick, heart racing, don't get it wrong. What's all this noise? She roars. And look at all those pens. How many times have I told you, why can't you just be friends? There's no use telling a lie, no use spinning a line. Monster Mum knows all your secrets, can find the truth every time. But just as they whisper in the corner, Monster Mum melts on the spot. If you tidy this mess and lay the table, then I guess I'll forget the lot. You see, Monster Mum can be really gentle. She praises the good that you've done. She pins up your drawings. She plays your games. She makes sure you have lots of fun. Monster Mum is always on the prowl, looking for something to eat. A spoonful of kindness, a slice of naughtiness, anything to give her a treat. I'm quite nice, really, honest, really. I need to tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm disabled. I've got MS, or multiple sclerosis. And I walk with walking sticks. I've got some here to show you. Here's my red one. Here's my black one with colourful spots. And here's my blue one. I like lots of colours. So I walk with 2 sticks because my legs are rather weak. Sometimes when we have to walk far, I'll use a wheelchair. Sometimes I'll use a scooter. Have a look. That's me on my scooter. When we go a long way, that's what I'll use. How about another poem? This one's called Astronaut. Wouldn't it be lovely if we could go up to the stars? If we could go up to the moon and see what's up there? Astronaut. My astronaut sleeps on a star, tired from searching planets for galactic friends. His lonely mission finds only moon and one sole star who winks at him, offering comfort. I want to climb up there, be his friend and blow bubbles at the night. But I don't have a rocket. They're only for grown-ups. I could use some ladders, point them to the sky, or stand on the top of my neighbour's tree. Would that bring me near? I waved to him, knowing my mum will be here soon to tuck me up for the night, with all my planet-hopping dreams starring in my head. If only he could see me, he'd lower a rope down and ask me to climb. Together, we could watch the moon smile. Wouldn't that be fun? I want to show you another picture now. I said I'm disabled, but I'm actually quite adventurous as well. I went on holiday last year to Wales and I went zip wiring. Do you know what that is? Where you sit down on a seat sometimes and then you jump off the platform, propel yourself all the way down and the wire above is with you. And then when you get to the end, you swing and you come back. Well, this one is a zip wire, but it's a bit different. We were lying down, can you see? We're hanging from the wire, like we're lying, floating in the sky. And this is what it's like as we start. It was rather exciting. I did feel like I was flying. Really good fun. Of course, things that happen around me give me ideas for poems to write. And that zip wiring definitely gave me an idea. And I wrote my poem called Dare You. Last week, I learnt to fly, up there in the clouds, screaming with the wind, cutting through the air, at one with the sky. No barriers blocking me, no indecisions to change my mind, just freedom, just pure freedom, just living without a care. They said, be happy. They told me to live. They said, go out and enjoy. Don't look so down. Head up, be positive. No need to be so glum. Go on, you can do it. You'll be okay, they said. Bet they didn't see this, I cry, swirling around, looping and soaring. Up here, I scream. Look up, look up. Tearing around, working my way through, well, nothing. Just weightless air, just unlimited air, just unrestricted air, just unopinionated air, uncontrollable air. Flying is now my favourite sport. My body feels no pain. It moves smoothly and easily. My thoughts are my own. Such joy I only used to dream of. But here I am free. Here I am me. Wouldn't it be great to fly? Sometimes walking for me is hard work. You can see why, if I could fly, it would be easier. But hey. Should we write a poem? I've got one called The Poem Seller. Do you fancy being a poem seller? Roll up, let's get our poems. Wonder what we could sell them for. Let me read my poem first and then we'll have a think at what poems you've got to give. The Poem Seller. I have poems that can skateboard. I have poems that smell of eggs. I have poems that feel like water. I have poems that grow in your head. I have poems that collect your fears. I have poems that feed your pet. I have poems that taste of chocolate. I have poems that echo what's said. I have poems that fly to Mars. I have poems that can chew. I have poems that sound like earthquakes. I have poems that dance with you. A poem that cares for spiders. A poem that hides your pens. A poem that will tell you you'll always be best friends. If it's a poem that you need to brighten up your day, be sure to choose one quickly before the words get blown away. So, fancy being a poem seller? Get my paper here. I'm going to write down the first one that I was selling. I have poems that can skateboard. I have poems that can skateboard. Fancy that. I think I used to skateboard when I was about 8. It's a long time ago. It's good fun. Can you imagine a poem on a skateboard? And now I'd like you to think of something that your poems could do. So you need to start with I have poems. I have poems that can, what could your poems do? I have poems that fly to Mars. I have poems that taste of chocolate. I have poems that shout really loudly. I have poems that are always asleep. I have poems that can play the saxophone. I have poems that are always wet. I have poems that do the washing up. That'd be good. I have poems that have long hair. Can you think of something? What could your poems do? You could really get carried away here. You could make a big list. And that's your poem. Have a go. Something else happened to me. My daughter said there was a witch in our shed. Now our shed is a bit falling down looking. It's not falling down, but there's a big crack in it and it looks like it's leaning to the side as well. But I never knew there was a witch in there until she was playing outside. She had a friend with her and they came back and they told me. And this was another idea for a poem. My witch. There's a witch in our shed, or so I've been told, with hair like a princess and beautifully clothed. She rides a silver broomstick with a very friendly mouse all around our garden, flying over our house. Her eyes are bright blue, her lips deep pink. She tells you funny stories, how scary animals shrink. She uses her wand to freeze bothersome boys, replace them with fairies, unicorns and toys. She takes from our fridge our food that's so cold, for spells and magic potions turn brothers into toads. Our kettle is her cauldron to boil all her spells, always leaving our kitchen with the most delicious smells. There's a witch in our shed, or so I've been told. I wanted to meet her, but she cried, "You're too old." I never did meet that witch. I haven't heard much about her recently. Maybe she's gone away. Did you notice the witch didn't look like your usual witch? She looked like a princess, hair like a princess, and beautifully clothed. Silver broomstick with a very friendly mouse. No cat, the mouse. I like to change things. Well, there's a pandemic going on outside, we know. And I've got a poem called Animal Doctors. I hope you don't need a doctor. And I especially hope you won't need an animal doctor. I think you'll see why. Being ill is no fun at all. Like bringing a shark round to play. He'd eat all your toys or snap them in half. It really does ruin your day. Don't call on a whale if you want to feel better. He'd flood your room with a splash. Make your bed all soggy, your pyjamas too, and fall through the floor with a crash. A giraffe would certainly not sort you out with a body as tall as your house. He'd munch on your curtains and smear your windows with a tongue-making mess throughout. As for a bear, I don't think he'd care if he smothered your carpet with honey, leaving a sticky mess that glues your feet to a floor. That's rather yummy. It's not a happy time if you're feeling so poorly. Better stay in your bed for a while. Make use of the time, all the treats you'll get. You'll soon be out there running wild. If you decide to call for the animal doctors, please remember the advice I've given. They'll leave your bedroom in an awful mess, but your bug may be well and truly bitten. Are you going to call for the animal doctors? Hopefully you won't need a doctor. Could be good fun though, couldn't it? Having a whale? A giraffe? A bear? Let's have another poem. They don't like Brussels sprouts in my house. I do. They're always winding me up, so I tried to get back at them. It's called Joker at the Table. There's a snake in the house. There's a spider on your knee. There's a rat in your soup. But it doesn't bother me. There's a slug in your hair. There's a cockroach on your foot. There's an elephant in your bath. If only it could. There's There's a worm in your sock. There's a penguin sipping tea. There's a tiger on your bike. Do you think it's following me? There's a joker at the table. There's a prankster in the house. Will they laugh if I tell them they'll be eating Brussels sprouts? What do you think? What do you think? I want to show you something. Can you see what it is? It's my big slipper. Ugh, no, put it back on my foot. But that big slipper gave me a big idea for a poem. I called it Bigfoot. We like baking things with Lego, and there was a big Lego castle left on the lounge floor. Do you remember that mess I was telling you about? Here we go. Lego on the floor. Now, I've told you as well that I've got MS and I'm a bit wobbly on my legs. That's why I use my walking sticks. And unfortunately this time I stood on the Lego and I kind of kicked it over this lovely Lego castle, and I am sorry, I didn't do it on purpose, but it did give me a good idea for a poem. Bigfoot. Mum stepped on the Lego, scattered pieces everywhere. That majestic princess castle was definitely in need of repair. She blamed the careless slippers. Too big for her feet, she said. She tried to miss the jigsaw puzzle, but landed on the castle instead. Too much mess was lying around for Mum to duck and dive. She hadn't meant to break anything, but her luck did not survive. She picked up all the pieces, built that stunning castle once more, but only when she'd finished did she notice something on the floor. A quivering pretty princess, shaking from head to toe, wondering what had happened to her castle of long ago. She tried to run and hide in her castle like before, but silly Mum had only forgotten to make a swinging door. Now the princess was really stuck, with nowhere left to go. She sat and stared right up at Mum and quietly squeaked, "Hello." Mum froze on the spot, couldn't believe what she saw. "I didn't mean to frighten you, but what are you doing on my floor?" The princess told her story, how she'd lived in the house for years, in pencil cases and tiny cars, anything really that appears. Mum thought for a moment, then gave some exciting news. She could stay in the house forevermore. She hoped she wouldn't refuse. The family always wanted a pet, someone to look after and feed. A pretty tiny real princess was definitely fun guaranteed. And so it was. The princess stayed, living and sharing the fun. Visitors flocked to see the girl, sharing stories to everyone. The children forgave Mum and her slippers, enjoyed the fun and laughter. And Mum decided in all her years this was the best happy ever after. Fancy finding a princess in your Lego. Wow. Something I need to tell you. The charities, the MS charities, have been really good to me. I've had MS for 30 years, so I've had to use them quite a lot. They produce really good books to help you. They fund MS nurses. that give you really great advice. So I've decided, if you're able to donate, down below, can you see the hat? If you can, all the money that goes in that hat, I am going to donate to the MS charities, the MS Society, the MS Trust, because they've been really good to me and lots of other people with MS. And at this time, when there's a pandemic outside, people can't fundraise for them in the same ways. They'd have been jumping out of planes, running the marathon, anything to raise money for MS. But we're all staying at home, aren't we? So they can't do that. So I thought it would be really lovely if I could try and give them some money too. But only if you can. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish with one of my favourite poems. It's called If I Can't. If I can't walk that fast, then I'll start a new race. If I can't keep my balance, then I'll sing as I sway. If I can't use my hand, then I'll learn a new trick. If I get so very tired, then I'll run in my sleep. If the heat is too much, then I'll wave at the sun. If I forget the answer, then I'll find a new question. If I can't sleep at night, then I'll say good morning to the stars. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope you've enjoyed my poems. Don't forget who I am, Jumping Jules. Jumping Jules Poetry. I have a website, jumpingjulespoetry.com. If you want to hear more of my poems, I have a YouTube channel and some of the children's poems are on there, but you need to have an adult with you because I've got some of the adult poems on there too, so you need someone to help you find them. But thanks for listening. This has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Okay, bye for now.
Did you enjoy that storyteller? Of course you did. And if you enjoyed it, like the minstrels of old, we're passing round the hat. And if you have some, whether it's paper or coin, our storytellers would appreciate what you put in. Every penny you put in goes directly to that storyteller through paper. All you have to do is go to worldstorytellingcafe.com. Click on today's stories or click on that storyteller and there'll be a hat below the story. And you can just drop a little in that hat. Well, thank you for listening. And if you can afford it, we'd appreciate it.